Alright, today we're going to teach you how to do a 4L60E properly. We're going to go through the steps of how to take it apart, how to clean it, and how to rebuild the 4L60E transmission. I'll show you which one we got here. Chevy pickup with the 5.7 motor in it. What we're going to do is show you how to take it apart properly. First thing we're going to do is get the seal out of the manual lever here. Show you the proper way to do that without damaging it. If you notice, most of the time you can't get your removal tool on. So what you need to do, so you don't damage your tool, you stick your file, and what it does is it gets a little lip here so your tool can't go on. You can file this off all the way around, get bits off of it. Then your tool will slide right on without any damage. I've seen people take hammers and beat them on. If you do that, you will end up destroying your tool, and it will cause damage. Get this off. See how easy that pulls that seal right out of there? Now that's out of there and ready to go. Move this hose. We'll take the tail housing off. What I do is I take a regular hammer or a regular wrench and loosen all the bolts. Now I have a ratcheting one to make it just a little bit easier. Alright, next what you want to do is you want to loosen this up so you can push it through into the case so you can get it out. But if you look at it, there's a lot of dirt and stuff that are holding it up. What you need to do is get a pick and remove all the dirt from behind the retainers on all sides. Then take your air gun and blow all this debris out of the way, and I'll show you how to get it out. After you've got it out, I have an inch and 1/4 inch socket here. Put it on and just slowly turn it around, and if you notice, it pushes them right in. You can go right down. You can't take that out till you get the valve body out, so what we'll do is we'll get our servo out of the side. With the servo, there's a retaining ring on here. Loosen this up. And it has a little access to the line there. Remove your retaining ring. Get a pair of channel locks on this. Sometimes it's going to pop a little bit. Alright, once you've got it up far enough, you can see the little ring here, this little O-ring here. What we want to do is take a pick and pull that out. To remove this, pull your ring out. This. Remove your seal. Inspect for any damage here, and I always take a little bit of Scotch-Brite and take the glaze off the piston or off the housing. Get the spring, same thing with the third. Take the glaze off. Remove your Teflon seals, snap ring for the pin, spring retainer. Now just pistons like this and it won't come out, what you need to do is take a little bit of emery or a little bit of cloth. What happens is it builds up a lip right there. So what you want to do is take a little bit of emery cloth and hold it and polish it off. Don't take a hammer and beat the pin out, because all you're going to do is cause damage. Then after you've got it apart, what I always do is I put the spring, the washer, and retainer on it just to keep it together. So you don't lose anything. What you want to do is take the snap ring out of what this is, the third accumulator. Move the spring, retainer, make sure it's not broken. Now with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bell housing off first. It's a lot easier. You do need a special socket for it, the torque socket. Get them from your tool dealer. You want to remove the bell housing and the 8 bolts. Remove it, push this off to the side. I think it's out of junker. It looks like somebody tried to take it apart. At this point, I have to take off the seal retainer and put them right here. I carefully knock out that seal. Being careful not to damage any of the aluminum. Alright, now we'll turn it over and pull the pin out. See, I got this from the junkyard. Somebody didn't know what they were doing. They've got the wrong screws in the wrong place. out good, not a lot of metal in the pan, so that's good. See, kind of want to go off. All right, filter off. Now what we're going to do is take off all the clips for all the solenoids. So they're all undone. Now, to get the bolts out for the torque converter clutch solenoid, you need to remove this solenoid here. After removal, I always put the snap ring back on it, or the retaining clip back on it. Remove both of the O-rings. Now I can remove all the 10mm bolts. Now, while I've got my 13 on there, take the pan off. We'll take that off. Now I'll remove all my 10mm bolts. With the accumulator of the piston, want to check for any damage, any score marks, anything here. And again, we're going to polish with a little bit of Scotch-Brite, take the glaze off of it. You don't want a shiny finish, you want kind of a crosshatch finish on it when you go to put it back together. And I always like doing it now, it's easier. Make sure your springs aren't broken. And your piston. Now a lot of people replace these with the aluminum pistons, aluminum billet. It's up to you. If you want to keep the porcelain or the piston or the aluminum, doesn't matter. That's all preference of the builder. Now remove the 8mm. Now a lot of problem with these breaking here is people take them off the wrong way. A lot of people grab a screwdriver and try to pry them up, and that's the wrong way. What you want to do is tap it to break it loose, and it comes right off. That's the only way these things fail, is when somebody breaks and takes them off. We'll remove these other 3mm. And the valve body is ready to remove. The valve body, take the manual linkage off. Manual valve out. While I'm here, I always take out 3/2 solenoid. And valve and spring. That valve is dropped. It's alright, we get a new one in the kit. Now, in the back here, we take off the forward accumulator. Take the valve and the spring for the valve body out. Check your spring, make sure it's not broken, and same thing with this one. Make sure that the piston's not broken and there's no score marks in the valve body, or that'll make, or you'll have to replace your valve body. There's so many score marks and it'll cause damage. Take out the bolt for the for the force motor. I'll leave everything else together until I go to the vet, and I'll do my valve body while I'm washing my transmission parts. So inside, now you can see you can take this the rest of the way out. Remove your O-ring. Inside the nose there is a little filter for your torque converter clutch solenoid. Take that out, and the O-ring. Set that off to the side now. Right on top is your check balls. Now, I see something common you're going to probably notice if you've been building before. Now, if you notice, this is very common. The check ball is stuck in the plate right here. And you see it pushed almost all the way through. What that probably means is this, whoop, there it came out. This had an 1870 code in it, transmission clutch slippage, or component slippage, which means the torque converter was slipping. What we're going to have to do is repair the plate or replace the plate. It's up to you which one you want to do. But it needs to be fixed. And we'll show you how to fix the valve body at the same time. There's one check ball right here. Same thing here, check your spring and your piston and your accumulator piston. Come on. Make sure, since this is aluminum, you want to make sure the pin doesn't wobble in the bore. And remove your seal. Now we're going to take out the torque. And we're ready to pull the pump out. Remove the pump mold. I always take out the seals behind here. I take these out before I wash them, not after. I like to get all the seals out of everything. It makes it better to wash. Everything gets clean. If your seal's still there, you can't get it washed behind it. So let's get them all pulled out now. Alright, now they do have special pullers you can buy to pull these off. If you're really careful, right up here, pull it out. Sometimes you have to tap it. And pump it right out. And you've got the pump washer. The right one. At this time I remove the Teflon rings for reverse. Always replace these Teflon rings anytime you're building a transmission. Never leave them on. And we'll take the pump apart. Need a gun anymore. Inspect your pump, make sure there's no damage. That ring goes there. You want to make sure this is nice and smooth, there's no gouges. Remove your pump, check for any damage, or any abnormal wear. Same thing on your vanes here. You want to make sure they're not worn out. If they are, they need to be replaced. These look really good. Remove your spring for your pump slide. There's two springs, an inner and outer. Remove the slide, take out the two seals. And sometimes you can get this out, sometimes you have to try to clean it, but there's an O-ring underneath this that you'll have to get out, and hopefully that'll come out when I go to clean it. Again, check here for any damages. Make sure it looks good. This one looks really good. Before I go to wash it, I will block out all of the bushings so I can replace the bushings. Seal here for the filter. You'll need to remove that. There are different ways you can do it. This is the easiest way I've found. Now you need to remove all the valves out of the pump. Take the filter out. Remove the valve. There's two sets of valves, pressure regulator and torque converter valve. You want to inspect the valve, make sure there's no damage. You want to make sure there's no side-to-side play with the valve. Remove the two springs in the inner valve. We'll explain all this when we go back together a little better. And remove the torque converter valve assembly. There's two springs at the end of that. Now I'll knock the bushings out in a little bit. I'll show you how to do that later, but right now we'll keep on going tear down an inspection. What you need to do is remove the band. What you need to do is get the pin out of the band, this retaining pin. What you need to do is get this retaining pin from the band, and you kind of push the band down and push that up, and it'll take it out of there. If not, you won't be able to get the drum out. The drum won't come out with the band still connected to that. With that, we'll be able to come right out. Throw our band away. We always have the band in. Now we can take out the band retainer. We'll take our reverse input drum apart first. The band is 2/4. Clutches in here are reversed. So we'll take these two apart. Same thing here, you want to inspect for any burn marks. You can see the transmission's got some burn marks here. They shouldn't have that. You want to check your steels to make sure they're not burned. Now with doing this, you need to get the piston out, and there's two or three different kinds of things to return that or do that. I've got one here we'll use right now. I'll show you three different ones. This is a bench one. If you're not doing this for a living and you don't want to go out and buy this stuff, these are about $200. But you can't build trainings without it. Remove the spring from the container. We'll take the spring out and the piston and remove the seals. Inspect the drum. We'll be taking these bushings out later. I'll show you that later again. Now with our input drum, you want to remove the seal converter. And again, you want to remove all 4 Teflon rings. You always want to replace these, never reuse them. There's a bearing in here. And under the bearing there is a selective washer that you want to keep. And you have to change that, what changes your end plate for your drum. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get these are the 3/4s. Get these out of here. Take your return springs and keep those. And again, inspect your clutches and your steels to make sure you don't have any burn marks. If they are burned, discolored, warped, they must be replaced. These look really good. And we'll take our forwards out. Bearing. Forward drag. These are your forward clutches and underrun clutches. Same thing to inspect. You can see a teeny little burn mark, but we can probably just take a little emery cloth and get rid of that. The other one, I don't see any burn marks on, so it'll be good. Great. Sprag. We want to inspect this. It spins one way and locks the opposite. Remove the retainer. And disassemble the sprag. Now on the sprag, you need to look for a couple of different things. You need to look for wear on the inner and outer race. The inner race, make sure there's no big grooves in it. There's no chatter marks on it. Same thing on the outside. Make sure it's nice and smooth. There's no marks. Then you want to inspect your actual sprag assembly itself. Keep it clean. Make sure there's no big flat marks on your sprag. If it is, you need to replace this. You can't get just the sprag assembly and now have to buy the whole entire kit. All right, now what we're going to do is get this drum apart. I'm going to show you another kind of spring remover. This is a foot press. Which we use to remove the springs, retaining clip. What you want to do is barely push down on these, because if you push down too far, you will damage your spring. Out of the way. There's a retainer spring. Get the clutches out, or the pistons out. Wow. Piston don't want to come out. There we go. Now, inside of here, there is an O-ring that is right here that you need to remove so you can replace it. Right there. And the pistons. These are bonded pistons. All the bonded pistons will get replaced with brand new pistons. We don't need those. Now what we need to do is take the snap ring off so we can remove the rest of it. There's the snap ring. This is your forward planet, and when you're inspecting planets, what you need to do is put them in between your thumb and forefinger, spin them, make sure you feel nothing, and make sure they do not wiggle or go up and down very much. You can get specs, put feeler gauges in here. You need to inspect your planets to make sure they're good. washer. Same thing here. You want to make sure there's no damage in any of the teeth, and we'll take these bushings out at a later time. This is your sun shell. The sun gear for the rear planet. You want to make sure there's not a lot of movement in here. Not too bad. These things strip out here with the 1870 code with the ball that was stuck in here. A lot of the times these will break and they'll have to be replaced. Now, the rear out. Snap ring out, what there is a called an anti-rattle clip, and it holds in your low and reverse support. So what you do is take a hammer and just hit it till it comes through. Pull the rest of it out. That's the rattle clip we have to get it past. Inspect all the hard parts to make sure there's no damage. Same thing with the rear planet. Looking good. Remove the snap ring. You want to inspect your sprag or your roller clutch for the low. Make sure these aren't, if you take this and it wiggles, it's no good, needs to be replaced. Same thing, inspect your race to make sure that it's in good shape. Now the only thing you're going to do is take out the piston. There's a piston in the back here that applies the clutch I just took out for reverse and manual low. And for that you need to have one of these tools that goes in and holds in where the snap ring is and it pushes the clutch down so we can get it out. There's the tool in place. Now we'll remove the snap ring. Hopefully. Alright, what we're going to do now is prep the case and for the washer and get all the bushings cut out of it. I told you I'd show you how to do that. First things first, we want to polish, clean all these up because we don't want a shiny finish on them. We want a rough finish here and here. And you can buy these online. They cost about $100 for a set of 3. But you put them in your drill. And what you want to do is stuff them up really, really good. Because like I said, the last thing you want is a nice shiny surface for the seals to ride on, because all that'll do is wear out your seals faster. Same thing down here with the accumulator. You want to get that nice and polished. So the crisscross hatch there will hold the oil so your seal doesn't wear out. And while I'm here, I just clean that out real quick. Alright, now what you want to do is make sure this is nice and flat, smooth. I have a sharpening stone, which I use, and I lightly make sure there's no burrs and take off any excess gasket material. This will always get that off. Get it prepped up really nice, smooth. You never want to put a cookie cutter on this and buff it off. It is not good. It will destroy it. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is take the rear case seal or rear case bushing off. I always take all my bushings out before I wash it so everything gets clean. Now what I have here is a bushing cutter. This is for an air hammer. If you haven't done this a lot, I would suggest not using an air hammer because you will destroy your parts. But what you want to do is take all the bushings out. Now that is ready to go in the water. And then we'll get the rest of these bushings cut out of all here, and we'll get it in the wash. That's all. What you want to do is make sure you do not damage any of the surface where the bushing rides, where you can destroy your things. That's why I say if you're not used to using an air hammer, do it by hand with the cut or with the chisel. Right, we'll get this in the wash. Right, we'll get this washed. When we do this, we'll do the valve body. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to fix the plate. I'm going to show you, put a piece of paper behind here. This hole should be the same size as this one. As you can tell, this one's much larger because the pressure was high and it tried to beat the chuck ball through it. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Put it on a flat piece of steel. What you want to do is take your ball peen hammer and lightly go around and push the metal back down so the hole returns to the normal size. beating the metal back where it should be. Now, you can see that this hole here and that hole is about the same size. Now what we're going to do, what you want to do, if there's any pieces of metal, what you want to do is take your file, a little round file, clean up any loose metal. And then what we'll have to do is reseat it so it will, so our check ball will seal on it again. What I do is I have a bigger ball, set that on there, and tap it down, which will give it a brand new surface for the check ball to seat on. Now you can put this back in your training the way it is. When you take your valve body apart, I always start one side, work your way over. Same when you go back the other side. You always start in one direction and go from there. So we'll just remove each valve, clean it, and set it off to the side. All right, now that we have all the valves out of it, what we want to do is make sure this is perfectly flat. The best way to do that, just like we did on the case, take your stone, sanding stone, and sand it completely flat. Make sure there's no burrs or anything on it. Now, if you had any problems with valve sticking, as you noticed I didn't have any, mine came out really easy. Put this on a drill and you can run these up and down each bore to clean them out, take any extra burrs off. I don't need to on this one, so I'll get this cleaned up and we'll put it back together.